Welcome to another book recommendations video for Bookmas. Today we're going to be talking about thrillers. Earlier this fall, in October maybe, I shared a post on Substack sharing 4 thrillers that I would recommend because I was like, I don't have enough books that in this genre to make a video. And then I read some really good ones and I found a few more that I have read years ago, enough to make a video on it. Now, I feel like thrillers need a little caveat because often there is some content in a thriller that I generally wouldn't like in a different book, but thrillers are supposed to be kind of creepy and stuff, so I don't know, I go into thrillers with a bit of a different mindset. That being said, I think that there's quite a bit of diversity on this book, some that I would call like thrillers light and some that are heavier. And I've tried to arrange them kind of in order so the first ones are not as scary as the last ones and not as intense and content-wise are lighter than the last ones. It's kind of maybe a little bit of a floating list. Some of them can definitely change positions, but in general, the ones that I'll be talking about first are not as thrillery as the ones I'm going to talk about at the end. As a teenager, I always loved mystery and suspense books, thriller books. I would watch CSI. I was really into a lot of that stuff. And then eventually I realized watching too many creepy crime shows made me not be able to sleep at night, so I can no longer really do that, but I still do like a good thriller every now and then. I feel like the term thriller is a little loose. I find the lines quite blurred between mystery, suspense, and thriller. Sometimes a book is very obviously one, but sometimes it's kind of like, well, it fits in multiple categories. So these are ones I'm categorizing as thriller. If you don't like it, too bad. It just is what it is. So let's start with the list. The first one I read a couple months ago, it's The Nature of Disappearing by Kimmy Cunningham Grant. This is the kind of book that takes place in the woods. We've got a main character. She is like a wilderness guide. She takes rich people fishing and hunting and stuff like that. Like, she knows the woods. She has an ex-best friend that is a Instagram star. She does a lot of like outdoor things and takes pictures and is an Instagram personality. Well, a mutual friend of theirs calls the main character and says, our friend seems to be missing. She works for him and she hasn't checked in like she normally does. She's not doing the things that she normally should do. And it is a book that kind of like, there are some creepy things that happen, there's some suspense that builds, but it's definitely just not as thrillery as some. Like how things worked out, I found very interesting, very different than I was expecting, which I always enjoy. I don't like to guess the ending. So if you like thriller light, maybe this would be a good one for you. I also really enjoyed The Line Between by Tosca Lee. This is also actually a great winter book because it takes place during the winter, during a snowstorm. We start out with a woman who is fleeing a cult. As she does so, there's also this worldwide pandemic that is, well, it's mostly an American-wide. I don't know if it actually goes beyond the world, but there's a pandemic that occurs, an epidemic of some sort. And I read this in 2020, not knowing what I was getting into. This was written, I think, in 2019. I really enjoyed the fact that I accidentally read a ton of pandemic type books in 2020, just totally by accident. So the main character, her name is Winter. And yeah, so she's left this cult. She has a sister that left it a while ago, and she still has people that she knows and loves that are in there. So it also had the cult vibes that I love so much, and the pandemic, and then there are people kind of after her as well. So it had a lot of different components going on, and I really enjoyed it. I would like to reread it. I should have put that one on my reread list for this next year, but maybe for the year after. Then we have another one that I recently read, You Are Fatally Invited. This one is definitely very mystery because it's kind of like And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. We're on an island. We have these people that have been invited to this island and they start getting picked off one by one. but there is definitely some thriller elements to it. These are all horror writers that were invited to this island by another horror writer, but the person that invited them is not showing up. They're not entirely sure where the line is, like what is supposed to be creepy, what is a little too much. And then there is the assistant to the person that invited them, who is organizing all these things, and there are certain elements that are supposed to be creepy, but then things start going kind of off of deviating from the plan, I guess. I read that book so quickly. Can't wait to read more from that author. Then we've got The Killer's Therapist. Yeah, this one is very like mystery suspense thrillery. So our main character is a therapist, and she's a therapist to people that have pretty much ex-cons, I think almost exclusively, and she's trying to rehabilitate them. She's very optimistic, but one of her clients, kind of like her shining star, the one that has had the most transformation, is suddenly accused of murder. And so she's in this like, I think that it wasn't him, like I really want to believe that it wasn't him, but all the signs point to him, and that's kind of where the book goes. And she doesn't know if she should trust him or not. Very enjoyable. Definitely, I mentioned this book in my indie recommendations video. Want to read more by this author, Christy Barrett, I think it is. She has quite a few books. Then we have Lay Your Body Down. This is another cultish book. Right at the beginning of the book, our main character gets a call from her ex-boyfriend's parents. He has died, and they think he has been murdered, and they think that the church that he belonged to, which she previously belonged to, has something to do with it. So they're asking her if she could please come back and look into it discreetly, try to figure out what's going on. And as the book goes, we get a bunch of her history of what went down with this church. So we get a little bit of like insight to the cultishness of it all. I need to check to see if this author has written any more books. I think maybe I tried one of her other ones. I should see if she has any new ones. Then we have The Long Way Back. Like, what was the other one called? The Nature of Disappearing. We also have an Instagram star that disappears, but this time it's a mother-daughter duo, which is just like kind of bad idea, terrible idea. The mother and her 16-ish-year-old daughter they're both like this Instagram personality. They have this Instagram account that does really well. Are also very outdoorsy, and the daughter goes missing. And the whole time I was reading it, I was like, well, yeah, you probably shouldn't be pushing your teenage daughter to be like the face of your Instagram account. But it was interesting. I was like, where is it going? What happened? The funny thing is right now, I don't actually remember what happened. So I could probably reread it and be just as interested. Okay, then we've got 2 books by Jessica R. Patch, both of which I've read in the last year. First of all, I will talk about The Girl Upstairs. This one I think is only being released in the spring. We follow a woman who, her and her husband are moving to this like fixer-upper house kind of in the woods close to a town. They're leaving the big city, going to this town. We know that there is something that happened that has made them leave the city. Something with this woman seems to have kind of had a bit of a mental breakdown. She used to be a detective, and right as soon as they get to this house, this town, things start being really sketchy. Things are happening in the house. There is a body that is found on their property, but the police don't seem that interested in figuring it out. And so our detective wants to like find out the details, but the more she digs into it, the more she's kind of getting in trouble. And then there's these other suspicious things. And the only thing that I kind of didn't like when I was reading it is I felt like certain things were like repeated a little bit too much. I felt like I could feel her trying to build the suspense. But when we got to the kind of like twisty part of the book, I was like, oh, wow, okay, that was that. I didn't see that coming. There was an element that I was like, something feels off here. But I had no idea what was off. And like, it's a thriller, so I can't tell you much else. But it was good. I like how she ended things there. And then her other book is The Other Sister. That one came out earlier this year. I will say this one is pretty dark, especially for a book written by a Christian author. You might not expect it going in, but we follow twins that just find out about each other. They're 20-ish. One of them grew up with their mother, who was a drug addict, and one of them was adopted into a really rich family. Well, they meet and kind of through a variety of circumstances kind of trade places. And if you can believe that the girl that was brought up poor could swap places with her rich twin, and people don't really notice. Like, I mean, some people are like, you seem a little off, but like they don't really notice that there's a difference. This book is so good. It's kind of like The Parent Trap for adults. The twin that takes the rich girl's place, she starts out by thinking like her sister got it all. Like, she got adopted into this rich family. She has these amazing friends. They call themselves the Pinks. They wear a lot of pink, you know, like they're like the sorority girl kind of stereotype. But when she switches places, she realizes really quickly, oh, her sister's life is not all it cracked up to be. And there is a serial killer kind of in the area and kind of getting close to her, / like the friend group that she hangs out with. It was very fascinating. There was like little reveals throughout, and I was like, whoa. By the time we got to the end, I was like, yeah, that was good. Definitely one of my favorite books by Jessica R. Patch. Then we have a book I just read last month, shared in my November reading wrap-up, and that is, what's it called? The Only One Left by Riley Sager. So we have a caregiver. We're set in the 80s. Our caregiver, her name is Kit. She was accused at her previous posting of possibly like helping her patient commit suicide by leaving the pills on her nightstand. And so Kit is desperate for the next job. She needs money. It's been a while since she's been able to work. So this job comes in and she doesn't want to take it, but she does. She is going to work to be the care aide for Lenora Hope, who at the age of 17 was accused of killing her mother, father, and sister. And there was like this creepy poem about Lenora, but Kit needs the money. And she also like wants to have faith in Lenora because she also has been kind of accused of killing someone. So she feels a little bit of like a connection there maybe, but like the house is creepy. First of all, it's this mansion set on a cliff and it is slowly sliding into the water. Like when she first gets there and she lives there, she's a live-in care aide, like everything is tilted. You have to like learn how to walk, and even your room is crooked. It just like has these really creepy elements, and she wants to figure out, did Lenora kill her family or what happened? And I thought I had an idea of what the ending would be, and it was like so much more involved than I expected. So always a great time. And the last one, I shared this in my winter book recommendations in my last video, No Exit by Taylor Adams. This one definitely has, it's a little bit more intense in the ending. We follow a girl who there's a big snowstorm. She's on her way home for Christmas, I think, but she pulls over to this roadside cafe type, I don't know, this place where a bunch of people are pulled over because they can't drive anymore. And she's there hanging out inside. She goes back to her vehicle to get something, and then she sees that there is a girl in a cage in a van parked by her vehicle. And so she's like, one of these people that I've been hanging out with owns this vehicle. So she's trying to figure out who owns this vehicle, how to get this girl out, how to keep her safe, etc. Really creepy. Well done. Definitely gets violent. I kind of just like skimmed over that part, but I needed to know like what happens. Oh, I skipped one. I skipped Rock, Paper, Scissors by accident. This is by Alice Feeney, also recommended recommended this in my winter book recommendations because we have a husband and wife that are going to Scotland for a getaway. They're trying to like save their marriage, and it takes place during winter. But you find out really quickly, like, yeah, their marriage isn't doing well. One of them is definitely lying. Maybe they're both lying. Creepy things are happening. I still have never read another book by Alice Feeney. You guys have kind of said maybe I should stay away from certain ones. I don't know. If you have a recommendation, a specific recommendation from her that I should try, let me know. This one also, one of the characters has face blindness, which is just an interesting idea as well, like not being able to recognize people's faces. I find that very intriguing. Yeah, so that I think is 10 thriller books that I would recommend. Based on these recommendations, if you've read a few of them, do you guys have some other suggestions? I definitely have to be in the mood for thrillers, but sometimes I'm in the mood for them and I don't know what I should pick up, because there are some that are very cross a lot of lines that I don't want to read about, so it can be hard to find ones that I think are good. So definitely let me know if you have some recommendations. Thanks once again for joining me for another video.